Hi everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Fargo Force Show. I'm your host Trevor Peterson. Pleased to be joined this week by Force forward TJ Rue. TJ, you grew up in Coon Rapids, Minnesota, Champlin, Minnesota, and then you attended Totino Grace High School. So unlike a lot of guys we've had on this show this season, you knew about Fargo and knew about North Dakota and the Force, as opposed to some of these guys we've interviewed like from Sweden or from different places around the country. So not a far trek for you, I guess.
No, not really. I mean, it's pretty close. It's kind of nice. My family gets to come up quite a bit to see me play, and it's pretty nice.
What you have 8 goals, 8 assists in 36 games so far this year for the Force. Thoughts on the season, your first season with the Force, team-wise and also individual-wise?
Team-wise, I think we're coming together pretty well. I mean, we have little kinks here and there, but we're coming together pretty well. And individual-wise, you can always get better.
Mm-hmm.
So.
You played last year with the NAHL, the North American Hockey League, the Aberdeen Wings. What's the biggest difference between the NAHL and the USHL that you've noticed this year?
The NAHL pretty much has the exact same amount of skilled players, and it's a little bit slower than the USHL, but that's the only really difference is the speed-wise.
How about what have you been surprised with anything coming to the USHL this year, or maybe how you performed as an aspect of your game maybe surprised you pleasantly this year?
Yeah, the speed's a big thing. It's a lot faster, a lot more bigger kids, I believe, in the USHL, and just the speed and the size is a little bit bigger.
Is that something that you can adjust to as the season goes on? Is that something that you can improve during the season, or is that one of those things that you have to work in the off season to improve that speed and to kind of get used to that?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, you could always improve your speed in the off season. I mean, that's what you try to do when you try to get higher up,
right? Is
improve your speed. But it's kind of a little bit of both. Like I said, you have.
You've gotten used to it though this year.
Yeah.
How long do you think it took you? How many games?
Couple games here and there, at least a couple.
Okay.
So.
Now you've committed to play college hockey at Bemidji State. Tell me a little bit about why that's extra special for you.
Well, my dad played there, so I mean, if you get to play where your dad plays, it's pretty special. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I feel like I have a big shoes to fill when I get there.
Was that always your goal growing up to play at Bemidji State, or not necessarily?
I always kind of deep down always wanted to play for Bemidji, so that's one of the main places where I wanted to go. So now is the goal to have a better college hockey career than your dad, or do you think about stuff like that? Yeah, I always think about stuff like that. It'll be really hard to do. They had a really good team when he played there, so it'll be a challenge.
Nice. Now, has hockey been always number one for you growing up, or what other sports did you play?
Hockey's always been number one, but played football, lacrosse, and I was on the bowling team my senior year. The
bowling team, nice. A little club team bowling, you were saying?
Club team bowling.
How were you at bowling? What's your high game? Do you remember?
I don't remember my highest game. I was average. We weren't very good. It was a bunch of seniors on the hockey team that didn't play a full sport, just did that for fun, so it was kind of a little get-together before the hockey season started.
Are the guys on the Force aware of your bowling prowess?
Some, but...
Would you win the Force Bowling Challenge if they had one of those?
I would like to think so, but you never know.
All right, we'll see. They might have to get that hooked up. Also, you played high school lacrosse, something that's a high school sport for Minnesota. What was that like? And talk a little bit about lacrosse.
It's a lot like hockey, besides without skates. I mean, you have your offensive players, your defensive players. They have lines just like you do in hockey. Try to get the ball in the net just like the puck in the net in hockey. So it's really, really similar, but a little bit different in ways. A lot of running. So.
Well, we'll have a little bit more with TJ in a little bit, but first, since our last show, the Force played 4 games. They went 2-2. So let's get you caught up a little bit on how they did. The first, we'll start with 2 games, back-to-back games against the Lincoln Stars at Lincoln. The Force on Friday, January 16th, won 2-1. Our guest, Mr. Rue, had one of those goals along with Dennis Smirnov. Tell me about that game, TJ, and how important that was to get off the road trip on the right start there.
Oh, it was huge. We needed the 2 points after coming off of last weekend, and it was big, and we needed those 2 points. And once you get 2 points on the road, you just try to get for the sweep on the second game.
And it carried you over a little bit to the second game as well. On Saturday, you beat Lincoln 5-4 in a shootout. A lot of goals there by Mostrom, McMahon, Smirnov, Slattery, and Kyle Sylvester had the game winner in overtime. The shootout, you guys won 1-0 in the 5th round. I don't recall too many shootouts seeing where the first 4 guys haven't scored. It had to go to 5 rounds.
Yeah, no, not many go that far, but we're lucky that we got the fifth one, and Kyle had a great move and great goal.
So the Force started out the road trip on a 2-0. The following weekend, then, the Force traveled to Michigan for 2 games against the Muskegon Lumberjacks. First and only regular season matchup between the teams. Muskegon came in with the second best record in the Eastern Conference. Friday, Game 1, Lumberjacks were peppering Force goalie Robbie Badoon early and often, but he was up to the challenge, stopping 39 shots on the night of a wide variety. But late in the first, the Lumberjacks finally broke through. Badoon stops the initial wraparound, but Robbie DeMontis is there for the rebound. 1-0 Muskegon after 1. Second period, Mikey Isamont and Dennis Smirnov both with shots, but it's Zach Yanu finally puts in with the rebound there. 1-1, tying the game. Just 24 seconds later, though, Muskegon answers Badoon with the initial stop, but then gets out of position, and Max Humitz scores 2-1 Muskegon after 2. We'd go to the third. It was 3-1 Jacks when Matt McCardle slings one on the net. It goes off a Lumberjack and in, cutting the deficit to 3-2, but that's as close as it would get. Muskegon would add 2 more for the final of a 5-2 score. They outshot the Force 44-35 in that one, and 3 goals in the third period. The Force would have a chance for redemption the following night in Game 2 versus the Lumberjacks. Scoreless through 1, so we go to the second. Muskegon on the power play, and Trevor Hamilton unleashes the wicked blast that gets past Matthias Israelson to put the Jacks up 1-0. Same period, under a minute left, the Force turn it over, and it leads to this. Mark Pataccio ahead, and watch this. Israelson gets a pad on it, but it still sneaks in 5-hole. 2-0 Muskegon after 2. So we'd go to the third. The Force didn't quit. With 5 minutes left in the third, Isamont with the highlight reel move. That's why he leads the Force in goals and assists this year, but that's all the Force could muster, unfortunately. Muskegon wins it by a final of 2-1. They outshot the Force 54-32. Israelson with a great day in net, stopping 52 shots, but doing yeoman's work, but it wasn't enough, so the Force dropped both to Muskegon. So let's check out the standings then after those 4 games. The USHL, the Force, just as they've done all season, except for one time, still managing to stay above that 500 mark at 16, 15, and 5. 37 points. You guys are still within striking distance of Des Moines and Sioux Falls, TJ, at 40 points for that 4th and final playoff spot. Your thoughts as you look at that?
Well, I mean, it's neck and neck. I mean, you can't lose too many games anymore. You gotta come to prepare every single game, and you gotta bear down. I've asked some other guests throughout this year, too. It seems like you guys have always stayed right at that 500 mark, a little above. Is it time that this team needs to go on a little 4-5, 6-game winning streak or a 4-0-1 streak or something like that to get back into that spot a little bit? Yeah, we need to push back, and once we get going, we can't take our foot off the gas pedal. We just need to keep going with it.
What's the biggest thing do you think that has maybe held you guys back from going on that run? You've been right at that 500 mark, but to get a few games above 500, what's the biggest thing?
Just a lot of inconsistency. I mean, we'll play good for a period, and then we'll take a step back. We just need to keep playing good for all 60 minutes of the game. All
right, well, let's take a look at what's upcoming on the schedule for the Force and see if they can change that around a little bit. 3 home games in a row upcoming. On Friday and Saturday, January 30th and 31st, the Force will host the Bloomington Thunder. First time they played the Thunder this year. Then the following weekend, Friday, February 6th and 7th, Friday 6th, you'll host Sioux City, the first place Sioux City Musketeers. You guys have pretty good success against. And then Saturday, you'll visit Sioux Falls on that. Thoughts on those games, TJ? Kind of fun to play somebody new this year in Bloomington?
Yeah, it's always fun to play someone new. I mean, you don't know what they do, and they don't know what you do, so it's always fun to play new teams.
And one other unique event that we want to mention that's upcoming for the Force this next coming week. On Tuesday, February 3rd at 6 p.m. at Shields Arena, the Fargo Force are going to host a Skills Challenge, kind of a takeoff of the NHL Skills Challenge. They've been doing this for about 4 years. Mike Babcock and Mason Morelli held kind of a draft where they drafted Force players onto their 2 teams, and the 2 teams will go to have a contest. 7 different skills challenges, including fastest skater, hardest shot, times, skills course, among others. It's free and open to the public, so 6 p.m. Tuesday, February 3rd, and then afterwards you can go out on the ice and skate with the Force and get autographs as well. TJ, what about this event? How much fun is something like this? You and the guys are looking forward to something like this?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a lot of fun. We always look forward to, battling against each other, and it's always good competition, so it'll be a lot of fun, and hopefully we get a lot of people out there.
And you don't know at this point, as we're taping, you don't know which events you guys will be in, but do you have kind of an idea? Do you guys kind of know maybe who might have the hardest shot or be the fastest skater? Is there kind of a good idea among the team, or is there a lot of maybe it'll be fun to see who can do that after some bragging throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of place people where they are right now, but you never know. So, I mean, it depends on if people show up, to be honest.
And it was kind of a fun deal as well. I mean, just being in a draft, I know watching it online on the Force website, you guys had some fun with it as well, the two captains drafting, and kind of just a fun, lighthearted deal.
Oh, yeah, it's a lot of fun, a lot of joking around and messing around, so it was a good time.
All right, well, that's once again Tuesday, February 3rd at Shields Arena if you want to go out. TJ, thanks for joining us this week. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thanks for having me.
All right, and that'll do it for this edition of the Fargo 4 Show. Have a good one, everybody.